Communications Authority of Kenya issued a directive to stop live coverage of a protest by the media. However, the directive has received sharp criticism both locally and internationally, as Linda Alela now reports.
The directive issued by the Communication Authority Director General David Mugonyi had termed the protest as contravening both the Constitution and the Section 461 of the Kenya Information and Communication Act. Mugonyi warned that the authority would take action against any media station that would have failed to adhere to the directive. The authority would later Wednesday, after raid transmitting sites of local media stations in Limuru, to shut them down. Among the stations that were affected included NTV, KTN and K24. The Kenya Editors Guild say that CAA's action is unconstitutional, noting it misinterprets Article 33 and 34 of the Constitution, which guarantee free expression and media freedom. KEG President Zubeida Kananu terming the directive legally and factually flawed, noting that the same injures press freedom and public accountability. KEG demanded for immediate withdrawal, arguing that CA must rescind this illegal directive without delay. That CA should respect judicial orders. The editors say that the 2023 court orders remain valid and must be obeyed. The editors further demanded CA to protect the public's right to know, adding that live coverage ensures accountability, transparency and public trust. Editors also demanded support for independent journalism, arguing that media houses should stand firm, report truthfully and seek immediate legal protection if threatened. In the statement, the Kenya Editors Guild further demanding oversight and reform, noting that Parliament and Judiciary must investigate CA's conduct and enforce compliance with the Constitution. The Guild cited a 2023 High Court judgment in Kenya Editors Guild and Others versus Communications Authority and Others, in which the court ruled against state interference in live media broadcasts and emphasized that no government agency can impose a prior restraint on the press. The Law Society of Kenya LSK, the Police Reforms Working Group and the Kenya Medical Association equally condemned CA's directive, warning of its implication on constitutional rights, emergency response and the potential misuse of state power. They too termed the directive to be a misinterpretation of constitutional provisions and a dangerous step towards suppressing fundamental freedoms in Kenya. The African Editors Forum termed this move as one that represents a serious affront to media freedom, the public's right to information, and constitutional guarantees that underpin Kenya's democracy. The African editors particularly raising concern that this directive comes at a time when trust between citizens and institutions is strained in an age of synthetic reality, deepfakes, and digitally manipulated narratives. A news blackout is dangerously counterproductive, the statement read. According to Amnesty International, this directive is a misinterpretation of constitutional provisions and a dangerous step towards suppressing fundamental freedoms. Amnesty International asserting that the live broadcast of peaceful protests and even those that may involve sporadic acts of violence by a few individuals does not inherently constitute propaganda for war or incitement to violence. The opposition, through the newly formed People's Restorative Justice Commission, condemned the directive, claiming that the shutting down live coverage is a blatant distortion of the Kenyan law, especially since these are the very articles that the CA itself is violating.
And the Communications Authority is quoting Articles 33 and 34, and we must remind them that those articles are very clear that the freedom of the press is guaranteed. It cannot therefore be taken arbitrarily under whatever circumstances without a proper consultation on particularly the issue of content. So as my brother said, we hope the courts are going to have to exercise their minds on this and issue some deterrent measures against William Ruto's administration.
In a directive signed by CA, Director General and CEO David Mugonyi called on the television and radio stations to immediately cease live coverage of the ongoing protest. For TV 47, I'm Linda Alela.
Now, the anniversary of